Hey yogis, welcome to Limitless Yoga Studio Online. My name is Kelsey, and today's class is going to be about getting rid of neck tension for good. So we're basically just going to give your neck a little spa day today. You'll need some props. You'll need two myofascial release balls of equal size or two tennis balls. That works as well. You'll need a block, or if you don't have a block, you can get a stack of books. This is about 3 inches, so anything to 3 to 4 inches, stack of books, or yoga block. And then lastly, either a yoga blanket, such as this one, or any kind of beach towel will do. We're going to roll that up for the neck here in a second. So make sure you have all your props ready because we're going to utilize all of them multiple times. And you're going to leave here feeling so good in the neck and shoulders area. So we're going to be addressing the two most common problems with that chronic neck pain. One is tension in the muscles that are overworking. They are doing more than they should, so they are very, very cranky about that. And then we've got weakness in the muscles that are underworking, the ones that aren't doing their job, they're not pitching in, therefore they get weaker and cause even more problems, more dysfunction. So we've got these two kind of battling each other in the neck and shoulder area. So we're going to address both of those things. We're going to give you some really nice myofascial release techniques and some things to ease the pain right now, and then some strengthening techniques, which is going to help clear out the problem in the long term and keep it from coming back. All right, so gather your props and let's get started. You'll need your blanket or beach towel first. Have your block and your two tennis balls handy because you just want to grab them and continue to lay down. So what we want to do with this blanket is we want to create a very small roll that's going to fit exactly in the crook of our neck. Okay. The most common problem that I see here is people do too big of a roll and they overfill. And what we want to do is we want to basically create this perfect puzzle piece that fits right in the curve of our neck. So everybody's going to be slightly different here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll mine up just, if you have a blanket like this, I'm going to go about a third. But if you have a towel, it could be different depending on kind of the squishiness of the material. So what I want to start with is this roll that's going to, again, fit perfectly in the crook of my neck. And as I roll back down, I just want to be very, very aware that it is common to overfill or underfill, okay? If we overfill and have this big roll, then we've got these muscles shortening, these muscles lengthening, therefore there's activity, there's energy. If we don't have enough of a roll, then our head is back. These muscles are now lengthening, these are shortening, and again, we have activity in the neck muscles. What we want to do is completely shut down the neck area and really give it a good rest, a reset. So we want to have that exact correct amount to where I really do feel very neutral in the spine. I don't have any kind of angle going on here. And then so definitely take the time to find that. It's really important. Knees can be bent or legs can be long, whatever's comfortable on the low back area. And then if you have a yoga blanket like I do, you'll have the ability to kind of have these wings that are hanging out here on the sides. And I'm going to tuck them under, which is just an extra little bonus to cradle the skull. If you're working with a towel, no worries. This is the most important part here, this roll underneath the neck. So I'm going to take these and I'm just going to continue to roll them under until I feel them encase the sides of my head, and it just feels very supportive. It's like my head's a little egg in an egg crate. It feels really nice. And then once you're all sorted, once you're good to go, you want to have this floating sensation in the head. What we're doing is we're kind of, I don't know, tricking the neck muscles into thinking that they're not needed, that they don't have to work anymore. They hold up our head against gravity all day long in different positions, so they're used to just being this workhorse that takes care of everything. And so to give them a break, to really not have them be needed at all is a pretty big deal. So make sure that you've got everything sorted. And then hands can be comfortable, maybe down by the sides, palms facing upwards. Or if you'd like to feel your breath, you can always put a hand on the heart, hand on the belly. So take a moment and close down the eyes. And we want these few cycles of breath to really be mindful and have meaning, have purpose. Okay? Yes, it's going to be great to take those long cycles of breath. It's going to be awesome to stretch out the lungs. All of those are definite benefits of breath work. But what we want to do is I want to create a visualization here of each exhale traveling down the neck And as each exhale travels down the neck, it's just kind of smoothing things out. Think about like an iron traveling over a wrinkled shirt. Each muscle fiber is becoming softer. There's no energy or activity in the neck. You might feel the shoulder heads get heavier. You might feel the jaw drop or the tongue drop from the roof of the mouth. And then just take your time here for a few more cycles of breath. Again, each exhale having purpose. Each exhale guiding your awareness down the back of the neck, just smoothing things out. Visualization can be a really powerful tool for the brain and body. When you're giving the brain a goal, a visualization of that goal, it does tend to put more resources towards it. It knows what you want. It's going to do its best to accomplish it. So take 3 more big cycles of breath, again with that intention of drawing the awareness down the neck, getting heavy, more relaxed. Just giving those neck muscles a few moments of peace and calm, something they might not have experienced in a really long time. And then as we begin our movement here in a moment, just recognize that we don't want to fire up the muscles the way they were beforehand because we're creating a new pattern here. We want to relieve tension from the system. So we're going to be working them with the muscles in a different way. So just be open to the cues that you're going to be given, the techniques that you're going to be given. It might be something that you're not used to or a different way of doing things, but all of it's going to be helpful in kind of reprogramming the brain in how to deal with the neck. Okay, take 1 more big cycle of breath. Exhale down the back of the neck, getting heavy and relaxed. And then go ahead and flutter open the eyes. So we're going to transfer to a myofascial release technique. We're going to replace the blanket with a block, and then we'll need those 2 tennis balls. So I'm going to carefully kind of unroll those wings on the side. I'm going to gently come up off of the pillow, or the pillow that we made. And then I'm going to put a block right there as my pillow. I'm going to place the 2 tennis balls together on the middle of the block. And then so that they don't roly-poly around, I'm going to take just a little bit of my blanket, just a little bit, because I definitely don't want to encase them with a lot of fluff. I want to be able to feel the tennis balls through that. So just a little thin layer. And I just want to encase it so they don't move around. Okay, so once I've got them sorted, I'm going to go right back down in the same position, but this time I've got a tennis ball on each side of my spine pressed up into the hollows of the ledge of the skull. So there'll probably be a little bit of space needed between the tennis balls so that you can be comfortable settling down into it. And again, legs can be bent if you need to. So once you find the positioning, the chin will probably be a little bit more towards the chest. The tennis balls are going to be pushing the skull into that angle. Take a big breath here, and you just want to get as heavy as possible because as soon as the body feels pressure, its knee-jerk reaction is to tense up and kind of brace to see if this, is this bad pressure, is this injury? So you just have to take a big breath and relax and tell the body this is good pressure, this is deep tissue massage pressure, this is the kind of pressure that's going to ease out tension and make us feel better. So once you're for sure you've relaxed, the shoulders are heavy, jaw slacken, you're going to begin to slowly take the chin up and down into a shake of the head, yes. And we're going to do this with the pace of our breath. So inhale, chin up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, slowly chin down towards the heart. So we want to keep that pattern of the breath. We don't want to beat the breath to the end of the motion. Basically, by keeping this nice, slow, controlled pace, it's going to give the brain time to figure out what's going on. Take in information about the 2 tracts of pressure that we're applying. So if at any point you need to move or adjust the tennis balls, taking them a little lower or higher, you want to make sure this is always productive. Okay, so give me 2 more big cycles here, and you're just taking in information like, ooh, this side feels more sensitive, or this spot is a little different. We got something going on this spot or this side. Taking all that in, and then we're going to address it, right? So as you continue to shake your head, yes, the next time you find something that's a little bit interesting, like, ooh, he's a little different, I'm going to pause on him and give just a tiny shake of the head, no. which is going to put a little bit more pressure on the right, a little bit more pressure on the left, and just kind of scrub out that area. It might give you more information about whether the right side is causing the issue or the left side because we're isolating it. Okay? And then once you give it a little scrub, you're going to go back to shaking your head yes, adjusting as needed. And when you find something good, I'm going to pause and maybe do a shake of the head yes. Okay? If shaking of the head yes doesn't feel productive to you, of no, shaking your head no, if that doesn't feel productive to you, then just continue with those slow, controlled cycles of yes, up and down. So we're going to be here for about 2 more big cycles of breath, just slowly addressing what needs to be addressed, situating the tennis balls as necessary. Keeping the shoulders heavy. And then we're going to isolate the sides a little bit more. So again, if this is feeling really good and this is definitely where you want to stay, then absolutely you've got a little bit more time here. But what I'm going to do is put the tennis balls back in their starting position in case they got a little bit out of control. And then I'm going to tilt my chin just a little bit over to the right. So now I can just feel definitely more pressure on the right side. And I'm going to then slowly continue that shake of the head, yes. But now since I'm tilted, I'm going to really feel that isolation of those big ropey erector muscles kind of going down the neck, which is going to go all the way down the spine. You've got some other straps of muscle that attached from the skull down into the shoulders, and we'll address those as well. But just take your time, just kind of noticing if there's anything on the right that you want to stop and breathe and relax on. And then you'll bring yourself back to center. And we'll switch it. So now we're going to tilt the chin just a little bit to the left. So as I slowly start to move the chin up and down, now it's very much kind of left dominant. I can tell which side maybe has more tension in it. And just slow and controlled with your breath. Take your time pausing on what you need to. Right now we're just pushing hydration through the layers of the tissue. You're kind of ironing out the wrinkles that might have been caused by sitting at your desk all day, maybe sleeping in a crooked position, hunching over technology. All right, as we come back to center, we're going to take just a few more up and down, nice symmetrical movements and kind of comparing it to the first one we did, noticing if there's things that have been worked out, maybe different areas are appearing. And then just a little bit longer here because we don't want to stay too long. Sometimes this can get addicting and you want to stay here forever. You really just are kind of safe for keeping it shorter, 3 to 4 minutes. All right, from here, I'm just going to slowly scoop up the tennis balls, place them over to the side. We are going to need them later towards the end of class. And then I'm going to bring myself all the way up to a seated position. All right. So take them from here. We want to take a neck roll here, and we're going to do this at the beginning and at the very end. I just want you to kind of feel out the differences. So relaxing the chin down to the chest, go ahead and slowly give me a neck roll. Take your time bringing in information, noticing if there's any pops, if there's any creaks, if there's any specific areas that are talking to you. And then reverse that. Take one in the opposite direction. Maybe notice your range of motion, how far you're getting. And then bring yourself up and sit nice and tall. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is a little neurological reset here. Sometimes the neck, because it is in chronic pain and it's very tight and it's very tension orientated, it starts to lose its range of motion just because it's a little bit scared to move into pain. It doesn't want to create pain for the body, so sometimes it'll kind of limit your range of motion, not necessarily because you've lost that range of motion, but the body's kind of bracing and protecting for you. So what we're going to do is you're going to take your chin and then look over your right shoulder and then just find your range of motion here, what's comfortable, and then mark that area. So whether it's something that you can see in your room or something that you can, identify the distance from your chin to your shoulder, just kind of take that into consideration and then bring yourself right back. Then we're going to do a resisted range of motion. So your hand is going to come onto your jawbone. So you're going to act like you want to turn your head right, but your hand is not going to allow you. So it's going to be equal energies and equal forces, right? So I'm really going to try to turn my head as much as possible, but my arm is kind of fighting back here. So it's not going to look like you're really moving. The only thing you're going to see is probably a smushed cheek from this, but I can definitely feel all the muscles on the right side of my neck really light up and become firm. I'm using, a lot of energy here to really try to turn my head. And we're holding here for about a total of 30 seconds. You want to keep the chin all in alignment here. You're really trying to turn your head to the right, but your arm is just too strong. It's not going to let you. You're here for just a few more seconds. You're going to keep up your breath work. And then as soon as we let go here in a second, I want you to immediately look over your right shoulder and see if your range of motion has changed at all. See if anything feels different, all right? We're here 3, 2, 1. Gently let go of that pressure and then go ahead and take a peek and see what you got. For most of us, we'll just have increased our range of motion, all right? We'll be like, oh, look, I feel more like an owl now. I can look behind me. Okay, second side, take your chin, look over your left shoulder again, and just find a way to measure out what it feels like. Maybe it's just a number that you're thinking of. It's a sensation of tightness. But once you have your way of measuring this, bring it back to center. Take your left hand on your left jawbone here. And then again, I'm really going to try to look over in that direction, but my arm is pushing back with an equal force. And then obviously you don't want to put so much energy into this that there's any kind of pain. Everything should always be productive, but you do want to put enough energy in here that you really feel all these muscles go taut. You feel the work. Okay? Probably feel a little bit of work in that left arm because it's really fighting back here. So we're going to be here for just a few more seconds. Again, about a total of 30. Keep your breath work. You're still sitting up nice and tall. Most of the things that we're going to be doing can be done from a chair as well. So feel free at any point that you need to take a seat, go ahead. We're here for 3, 2, and then take that look. Ready? Slowly release. Take a peek and see if you just increased by quite a bit. All right. All right. Now we're going to stretch out that area that we just engaged. So you're going to drop your right hand, reach up and over for a moment just to get that nice big side body stretch. Take a big inhale. On your exhale, you're going to take that hand, scoop up the skull, and then pull on a diagonal. So we want to keep that right hand moving out away from us, kind of crawling away from us. You're pulling on a diagonal, not just smushing straight down. And then once I feel this big, nice stretch from the back of the earlobe to the back of the shoulder, I want to start playing with angles. It might be productive to take the chin towards the chest, but other people might think nose to armpit crease is a little bit better, or nose more towards the side wall. So keep walking your right fingers out away from you, keep playing with the angles, and then when you find the perfect stretch for you, hold it there for 2 more cycles of breath. Make sure that you're heavy on the right shoulder blade. Last big inhale. Last big exhale. All right, switching it out. Drop the left, reach up and over with the right. Big inhale into the side body. And then we're going to anchor down with that left hand. We're going to scoop the skull into the right, and we're going to pull on that diagonal, maybe increasing the tension by walking the left fingers further out. Keep pulling in that line, maybe tucking the chin towards the chest, kind of rolling around. And knowing this side is different, so a different angle might feel better than it did on the other side. So definitely take that range of motion, find out what works best for you. Breathe into it. I got 2 more big cycles of breath, lengthening this out after we did all that wonderful massage. All right, slowly bring yourself back to center. All right, we're gonna do that little tester pose again, that neck roll. So relax the chin to the chest, roll out your neck, 1 in each direction. Notice if there's anything that's less cranky. Notice if there's any maybe crackles that aren't there now. 1 in the opposite direction. All right, and then bringing it back to center. All right, we're going to address the muscles of the front of the neck here. These tend to get short because we are looking at our phones, we're looking at our technology. We're kind of hunched forward like this for a lot of the day. So we want to take care of this area right here. Okay, so you're going to take your little lobster claw here, and you're going to go down the side of the neck. Now there's a pretty big ropey muscle that you can pinch that starts at the back of the earlobe, and then it goes all the way down into your collarbone. So if you grit your teeth, it kind of stands out a little bit more. You can grab it and kind of find that ropey muscle. So I'm going to start up here by the ear. I'm going to keep my chin forward, hovering over my heart. And then once I have a good claw full, I'm just going to slowly pinch it and pull it away from the neck. So I'm going to pinch and pull. Okay? Then I'm going to go down. I'm going to pinch and then just slowly pull. And when I say pinch, it's not a painful pinch. It's just kind of a gentle grabbing motion. And then I want to slowly work my way down, pinching and pulling. And then noticing if it's more tense up towards the ear, or is it getting more intense as I'm coming down towards my collarbone area. I'm going to tell you which way you're holding your tension. So keep that left shoulder blade nice and heavy. I'm going to work my way back up one more time, pinching and pulling. And if you find something that's really talking to you, like, whoa, that's pretty intense, then I just want you to hang on to it, take a couple cycles of breath, and wait for that sensation to fade. Basically, you found a really good spot, and you want to hang on to it until it lets go. Okay? All right, I'm back up at the top. If you need a little bit more time, you know, the beauty of online classes is you can always hit the pause button. So I'm going to go ahead and relax there, and then take my left hand over to my right side, start up here by the back of my earlobe, and then just kind of find that pinching motion on that big ropey muscle. I'm going to keep my breath work. I'm going to pinch and pull out away, kind of feeling how the muscle and the skin slightly separate. Just working with the fascia here, trying to push some hydration through everything, kind of reorganize it so that it's smooth and gliding effectively, adding that crankiness. And then again, take note if the tension is by the ear or by the collarbone, and if it was the same or different than the other side. And we always want to take into consideration what's going on, if it's asymmetrical or not. Okay, I'm working my way back up, pinching and pulling. Again, if there's anything really good, just hang on to it, grab it, pause, breathe, wait for that sensation to fade. And then after this next couple cycles of breath, we're going to go ahead and stretch out this area. It's a really good stretch to remember. You can do it throughout your day at your desk. All right, go ahead and relax. Okay, so you're going to take your hands, like CPR hands, right over the heart space. I'm going to pull down on the heart as I jut my chin upwards. I can even kind of do that overbite thing like a bulldog. And get an extra big stretch right here. I'm going to take a breath. And then slowly tilt in one direction. So now we're aiming it down more towards one side of the throat. I'm still pulling down on that heart space. Big breath here. Then back to center. And slow motion over into the opposite side. Big stretch on the second side of the neck. Big inhale. Big exhale as you pull down. And then one more time all the way back to center. Get the front of the neck, throat area. And bring yourself back to neutral, okay? Neck roll, relax the chin to the chest. Notice if this changed anything. It's going to give you good information on whether it's the front of the neck causing problems or the back of the neck causing problems. When you take a neck roll, remember which one gave you the biggest benefits, okay? All right. Hopefully everybody's doing really good so far, getting some pops and creaks out and everything. Okay, so we are going to go into the strengthening part. I'm going to have 2 exercises to show you, and then we're going to end with a really good myofascial release technique to get out any little bits of tension from the shoulder area, okay? So the strengtheners here, I'm actually going to back up against this wall. You can do this standing if you want, but what I need to do is make sure that I have this really upright positioning of the spine, that my shoulders are against the wall, my shoulder blades are against the wall, and the back of my head is against the wall. I don't want to overdo a tuck of the chin or a lift of the chin. I want to be very neutral here. So it's almost, basically chin parallel with the earth. Okay. So what I want are those muscles that I massaged with the tennis balls not too long ago. Those muscles on the side, I want to strengthen them. We tend to have this kind of posture, and when we have that kind of posture, those muscles get quite weak because the head is pulling them forward, and they're not able to pull that head back against gravity and hold you upright and get in alignment. So for all these degrees of motion that you're coming forward, these muscles are getting weaker, and you're putting a lot of tension and strain on the spine itself, which can definitely lead to long-term issues in the discs and in the nerves that come out of the neck. So we really want to have that important stack of the ear hole over the shoulder, okay? So these muscles are going to pull us back against gravity and get that job done. So to start, again, chin parallel with the earth, back up against the wall. I'm going to take my hands and just gently place them on either side, again, right where those tennis balls were. I want to feel that muscle light up. I want to feel it go firm. I want to feel it engage. So I'm going to take an inhale. On my exhale, I'm just going to gently push my skull back into the wall and see if that made that area light up. And then I'm going to relax. No, I'm not going to overdo this. I'm not trying to, create like a headbutt motion, but I'm just going to gently push back. I feel those ropes enlarge and then relax. Push back, feel them firm up, and then relax. Now the tendency here is to have all these other muscles help. So if you're starting to feel the shoulders lift, or if you're starting to feel the shoulders push back into the wall, then take a big breath, relax the shoulder blades down the back, and see if you can just gently press the skull into the wall. Okay, so we're going to call these skull pushes. The body is going to want to try to get this job done regardless if it means using the right muscle or not. Okay, so you really need to be aware of where are you feeling the work. Do I feel these sides of the neck getting fatigued, maybe getting a little warm, maybe creating some work here, or am I feeling a lot here? Am I squishing up? Am I trying to use all of my back in order to do this? Okay, so all these exercises, both exercises that I'm going to show you, you want to do to fatigue. So if you're already fatigued, then you're going to relax and you're going to breathe, and maybe you do a few more of these throughout your day. Okay, you can absolutely do multiple rounds. If you're not fatigued, then keep moving, gently pressing the skull back. Avoid the double chin. Avoid the chin up. We're just going to go straight back and engage. Okay, pushing back and engage. Now, if you're struggling with feeling that, then I can give you one more technique here. I'm going to keep a hand on that muscle just to feel it. I'm going to take my other fingers on my forehead. So now, kind of that resisted range of motion that we did with our hand and our jaw, it's with our forehead and our fingers. So I'm going to push my fingers into my forehead. I'm going to kind of fight back. Okay, that might help you feel that engagement a little bit better. It's just a little different way of working at it. I'm going to do both. I'm going to do it with both hands. Okay, so if that's more effective, you're like, okay, now I know where that muscle is. Okay, now I can do it. It might just be a way of working with the brain a little bit differently because everybody's different in how they learn. So we want to make sure that brain fires that muscle. And then once the brain knows how to fire that muscle, it's going to become automatic. You're going to get it nice and strong. It's going to hold your head up against gravity and help get rid of that chronic tension caused by the weakness in those guys. So again, feel free to continue going, hit the pause button and go to fatigue. If you're already fatigued, then take a break, relax. And I'm going to show you our last exercise here. So a lot of neck tension, again, from that bad posture, is coming from not only the neck being forward, but also the shoulder blades coming forward. So when we're like this, we have a lot of muscles in our back that should be strong enough to pull us back against gravity, but similar to those neck muscles, they get weak because of that hunched position. They kind of give up and they just kind of say, never mind. So the muscle that should pull our shoulder blades back kind of allows it just to slump forward, which then cause that imbalance of tightness in the chest, weakness in the back, tight and weak muscles here. And then pretty soon you've got muscles that are trying to do jobs that they were never built to do. So to help that area out, we're going to do shoulder blade circles, and it's going to engage a lot of different muscles that are going to help us keep those shoulder blades back in place. Okay. So I want you to visualize your shoulder blades on your back. So if mine would be kind of like, your palm sizes on your back. And what we want to do is we want to create circles. All right. So that means that your shoulder blade is going to go up towards the ceiling. It's going to go around the corner. It's going to pull down to the base of your back, like where your jean pockets would be. And then it's going to squeeze into the spine. So it's going to roll around in this kind of circle. And we're going to do both sides. All right. So I'm going to turn around so that you can see my shoulder blades. All right, so I'm going to start with my right shoulder first. I'm going to have my arms really relaxed here because, again, the body's going to try to use a lot of muscles that it shouldn't in order to create this motion. We want to make sure that's the right muscles being used. Even if it doesn't feel like it's a really big movement, it'll get there eventually. Range of motion will come. So I'm going to take my shoulder blade up towards the ceiling, pull it around towards the front of me, kind of really wrap it around. Then I'm going to pull the bottom tip down into my jean pockets, and then I'm going to squeeze the shoulder blade into the spine. So I'm going to wrinkling that area up. So it's up, around, down, and in, up, around, down, and in. Now what I want to be careful of is when I lift it up, I don't want to get all of this activity here. I don't want to get involved in the neck. The neck is completely still, which again might mean that you're doing a smaller range of motion. It might just feel like a little teeny tiny movement, and that's fine because you got to start somewhere. You got to get those muscles on board with what's happening, and then eventually we can increase that range of motion once those muscles are strong and firing correctly, and we can have nice big shoulder blade circles. So this is a really good one that you can do seated at your desk throughout your day to fatigue multiple rounds. We're going up without involving the neck, around the corner, down, and in. So you should feel the work and the heat kind of in that circular area around the shoulder blade. Okay, I'm going to come over to this side. Okay, so I'll start small. I'm going to go up, around, down, and in. And then I'm just going to slowly, over time, you'll be able to do a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. Again, the body's going to want to try to, really make this into a thing and involve a lot of different muscles, but we want to nuance it to the point where we're just feeling that work around that shoulder blade area, up, around, down, and in. And now I've seen people do this with the hands up, which could be another way of working if it's easier to notice If it's easier to move in that way to kind of feel the muscles, that's fine. Just be careful, because sometimes when you lift your hands up, then you want to get this going on, and your arm is doing the work as opposed to the arm just being along for the ride. So you want to put all your focus, all your energy, all your attention on imagining those shoulder blades doing circles, because they're called shoulder blade circles. They're not arm circles. They're not even shoulder circles. They're shoulder blade circles. So really get specific on your movement. And again, pretty simple, but very powerful. It's going to keep the shoulder blades back in place and keep you from that hunch position, which is eventually going to cause a lot of issues in the spine, the nerves, and the muscles. So shoulder blade circles all day long. All right. Okay, those are your two strengtheners. We're going to end with myofascial release technique. So we're going to do one more. We're going to do two more neck circles. So take the chin down. Notice if by activating all those muscles, all of a sudden something feels different, better. Sometimes once we can reconnect the brain with those muscles, all of a sudden the body's like, oh, okay, this is nice. Everybody's doing their job now. All right, so for this last bit, we're going to do a trap massage. So these big chunky muscles right here that you can kind of grab with your lobster claws and squeeze, those are your traps. We're going to be placing the balls pretty much where the line of your tank top would be, right there in the middle. We're going to be placing them underneath. So I'm going to take the block or the stack of books to the middle. We're going to need him in just a second. I'm not going to need my blanket. Okay, so again, I'm going to be putting these guys just right behind my traps. Okay, so as I lay down, get my hair out of the way, I'm just going to kind of roll him underneath. So I don't want to push him so far that I'm getting on the shoulder blade. I just want to kind of roll him underneath to where I feel that flap of muscle that you can grab with your lobster claw. I can feel him laying over the ball. And then I'm going to try to make this other one just like that so it feels pretty symmetrical. So if someone were to be standing right here looking down on me, they should probably see just a tick of the ball sticking up. They're not completely covered by my back, okay? So right now, I can feel some good massage-like quality here. I can feel some pressure. It feels pretty good. So if you want to stay here, especially if you're really quite sensitive and tender, then stay here. Maybe just start to take the arms out like you're getting ready to make a snow angel. And for some of us, this is going to be enough. I'm going to draw the arms up. Whew, I'm going to pause, I'm going to breathe, and once that sensation fades, I might be able to move the arms up a little bit more. For some of us, if this feels like, well, there's pressure, but it's not that deep tissue massage that I was expecting, then you want to take your block, place it underneath your sacrum, so it's the flat spot before your tailbone, so it should feel nice. It shouldn't feel like it's in your arch of your low back. You shouldn't be flaring your belly up. We actually want our belly down in a hammock. Now all this weight is traveling down to my shoulders. I've got so much more pressure. Definitely turned into a deep tissue massage for me. And again, just like if you don't have the block, you're going to have that snow angel shape. You're going to slowly bring the arms up. And then once you start to find like, ooh, okay, that's pretty good. Then you're going to pause. Feel free to close down the eyes and then take your breath. And just like all the other myofascial release that we've done so far, it's a matter of finding a sensation, breathing through the sensation. And then once it fades, you know that spot's been addressed. Maybe you go looking for the next sensation so my hands get a little bit higher. Okay? If at any point you feel like your fingers are tingling or going numb, we definitely want to address that. We want to put the balls in a slightly different place. It just means you kind of caught a nerve. Not a big deal, but we just don't want to hang out there. So I'm going to show you two more motions here. And I want you to take the one that feels the best, most productive, okay? So stillness, kind of, I call this my snow angel position. Absolutely stay here, okay? Or I'm going to call this the mummy position. You're going to take your arms across your chest and get nice and heavy, and then you can rock right and left, which will put more pressure on one and then the other. So this little like mummy rock might feel really beneficial if one side is giving you more grief than the other, okay? So that is another tool in your toolbox, okay? Or the arm drop, I'm going to take my arms up towards the ceiling, palms facing one another, and just slowly start to drop my thumbs back. And at some point, this one's pretty intense, I'm going to be like, whew, okay, I'm going to hang out here. Take a breath, and then I'll bring it back up, and I'm going to do this again. And notice if the thumbs got any closer to the floor. Maybe that influenced your range of motion. Maybe like, okay, now there's where I'm finding my spot. Whew, take a big breath, relax. And then come back up and maybe do a few of those, right? So that is another way to deal with the traps. We're massaging the traps right now, if I didn't already say that. Oh, All right. And then one of my favorites, doesn't mean it's going to be your favorite, but it's kind of like a bit of like a breaststroke kind of swimming. It's going to be taking my arms, and I really like making big circles here. So kind of like you're doing the breaststroke in a really lazy way. But again, that might not be your favorite. It might not be a way that you like working with the shoulders. So if you would rather come back to just stillness with the snow angel, the mummy roll back and forth, the arm drop back, or if you like kind of that movement, you find something good along that movement, then absolutely pause and breathe and relax into it. But we're here for about 1 more minute. Get what you need. The traps sweep up into the back of the neck. So sometimes when we're constantly massaging the neck, like, oh, it doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel good, it's actually these guys down here. They tend to fire and contract when it's cold. So if you're in a cold environment, sometimes they naturally start to shorten. They also contract due to stress or anxiousness. So let's say you're working in a cold office in a stressful environment, you've got a double whammy. You're going to have this really tight mess here because you're constantly contracting. So making sure that the shoulders are relaxed down the back, making sure that your neck is long, the back of the neck has that long line. Those are going to be things that you can do throughout your day in order to get rid of the things that keep the tension coming back. Also, your sleeping position. If you're someone that sleeps with their chin kind of tucked up underneath them, or if you have a big, huge pillow that kind of keeps your chin jutted up, those are all going to be things that you have your neck in a strange position for 6 to 8 hours. So those are the kind of things that if you can notice throughout your day what's going on, you can fix them, you can address them, and it's just going to help that healing process so much faster because it's not going to be 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's just going to be constant forward progress. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take the block out from underneath me, tuck that tailbone, land with a nice low back, and then take away tennis balls one at a time. Oh, that feels so nice. We're gonna roll up one final time here. And then see if you can sit up nice and tall. The idea is that, again, we're stacking the ears over the shoulders. And a way you can practice this is by actually using your headrest in your car when you're driving, or if your office chair has a headrest. It's called a headrest for a reason. By putting your head on it, it's going to train the brain that that's a better alignment than this. This is comfortable. This is what we want to do. This is kind of the lazy version, but it's not helpful. All right. So use your headrest. See if you can train the body. And at first, it's going to feel really weird, and you're going to feel like you're over exaggerating. But this is actually that line that we want. So last neck roll. Here we go. Relax the shoulder blades down the back. Take the chin to the chest. Slowly roll out, and then just really compare this with the very first one that you did at the beginning of this session. Are there less pops and creaks? Do you have a bigger range of motion? Does it feel better? You don't even have to have a specific word for it. Does it just feel nicer, freer? And then sit up nice and tall. All right. Really hope you enjoyed this kind of neck refresh. I would highly recommend the work that we did today every day until that chronic neck tension goes away. Use the strengtheners throughout your day. The myofascial relief techniques just once a day for just a couple minutes. And then, drop me a comment here if you need, if you have any questions or any comments over the next spa day class. So I will see you guys next time. Namaste.